Hi, folks. Dru Ann and Chris here, back again with our second episode dedicated to a single book. You may remember that the last time we were together, we talked about Hank Philippi Ryan's The First to Lie. And since that book was a psychological suspense, we decided that this time we should probably focus on a cozy mystery. So we've chosen Sherry Harris's From Beer to Eternity. We're going to start off with our reviews, and then we'll throw it to an interview with Sherry and get some more details from the creator herself. But first, let's see what we think. Dru, go ahead.
Hi, guys. Okay, so my musing starts with, this was a very enjoyable whodunit that kept me engaged throughout. The author knows how to tell a story that has everything I like in a book. A tightly woven and solid mystery, a comfortable reading style, well executed, and a pacing that is on par with how well the story is being told. We meet our heroine on a promise to a friend helping out his family member. What she soon encountered is a dead body, and when evidence points to the local bar owner, Chloe has to do everything in her power to prove Vivi's innocence and keep her promise. The author does a great job with aligning the pool of suspects with their perceived misdeed that puts them on Chloe's list. Watching her go through all the trials and tribulation of uncovering clues, verifying its truthfulness, and getting herself in the crosshair of the killer made such a fantastic read that I savored every moment. Each character had a pivotal role that aided in the revelation of the killer's identity and their motive, and it was fun watching it all play out. Boasting an eclectic cast of characters, a small town atmosphere, and engaging dialogue. Remember, I like dialogue. This was an entertaining book to read, and I cannot wait to see what new adventures await Chloe and her friend in this pleasantly appealing debut series. Chris, what do you have to say?
Well, as you all know, cozies aren't my first reading, so I'm going to say that for me, and this is only my opinion, a true cozy series needs a number of things in place in order for it to be successful. Since I think Sherry Harris's From Beer to Eternity hits all those points, I'm going to use it as an example. Number one, the amateur sleuth needs to be both authentic and complex.
Yes.
Maybe these two things are sides of the same coin. Chloe Jackson is a character readers immediately care about. With her sudden move from Chicago to Florida and her need to acquaint herself with her new surroundings, we get a sense of who she is very quickly. But we are also aware that there are many layers to her that will need to be exposed over time. It is vital that these future developments reinforce the personality of Chloe as we now know it to be, or that they trigger gradual growth in her moving forward. It also helps that Chloe is a very likable heroine, making it easy for the reader to root for her. Number two, the setting needs to be unique and fascinating. One of these without the other is likely to fall short for me as a reader. In From Beer to Eternity, we are welcomed to the so-called redneck Riviera area of Florida Panhandle. I don't think anyone is going to argue that Florida in general is a unique place with eccentric residents, but this particular area is one that many are not familiar with, and it ups the quirk quotient. As for fascinating, for me, the history of the region alone opens up many avenues of exploration, but it is the bringing together of a disparate population, especially in terms of economic diversity, that is going to lead to endless conflict, keeping the series fueled for books to come.
Mm-hmm.
Number three, a believable crime and a realistic reason for the sleuth to become involved. When a customer at the Sea Glass Saloon is found murdered outside the bar, it certainly feels inevitable given his many conflicts with residents, and the method of murder is credible enough. Chloe's involvement might have been a stretch if she had jumped into the investigation solely because she worked at the bar. But couple that with her promise to her deceased best friend to look after his grandmother, and it becomes a more plausible spur to action. A later development in regards to ownership of the salon only further entangles Chloe with its fate. Number four, a bevy of sidekicks and supporting cast. Sherry Harris populates Emerald Cove with a bounty of side characters. In the essence of disclosure, I should say here that I know from the author that a few of the characters are loosely inspired by myself and my husband, and one incident in particular on the redneck roller coaster is lifted straight from an actual event that occurred to me, so I'm probably not unbiased here. But I think that any reader who meets this cast of characters will see that not only are many in place for future developments in the series, but there's also plenty of room for additional players to be introduced with each subsequent book. Some other trademarks of the cozy mystery genre are also represented here: a potential love interest or two, secondary storylines that are tangential to the main case, and a relatively happy ending that most certainly solves the case at hand and ties things up into a nice bow. While I personally don't need those elements every time, I know that cozy fans appreciate that formula, so I know they will come away satisfied after reading Sherry Harris's From Beer to Eternity.
Yes, very good.
All right, now let's throw it to Sherry and let's get some questions for her and see what she's got to say about this wonderful launch of a new series. Hi, Sherry. Thanks so much for joining us today on BOLO Musings. I'm going to start, and then we'll have Dru jump in with some questions, too. My first question is going to tie your two series together. Sarah Winston is the heroine of your garage sale mystery series, and Chloe Jackson is the heroine of the new series. What are some of the similarities and differences you see between these two characters?
Oh, that's a great question. First, though, I want to thank you both for having me. You know how much I love both of your blogs. I tell you guys that my pocketbook is affected drastically from reading and going, oh, I better get that. So thank you from the bottom of my heart for having me here today.
No, we appreciate it.
Yes.
So Sarah is at the beginning of the series, a 38-year-old divorcee who is trying to find her way in life after having been an Air Force wife and never having had a career, except doing a lot of volunteer work. And Chloe is 28. She's a children's librarian in Chicago and goes down to help her deceased friend's grandmother run her bar. Both of them are really tenacious. They're loyal friends. They love the people in their lives deeply and sometimes go to extremes to help them. They're different because of their age difference, their life experiences, and but they are both starting over, their lives over.
Very good.
Well, my first question is, what is the most crazy or unconventional or uncomfortable thing you had a character do?
Oh, well, in the Sarah books, Sarah goes off and has a one-night stand with somebody that she thinks is a one-night stand until he calls her and shows up and becomes a love interest. So, in the cozy world, that's pretty crazy.
Yes, definitely.
And Chloe goes paddleboarding at night on the Gulf of Mexico, which probably isn't the smartest thing to even do, but the water is very shallow by the shore and it was a full moon. And so even though it seems a bit dangerous, it really wasn't too dangerous.
Okay.
I did think about that. I was like, I don't know about you. I'm not going out there with you, Chloe, but you have fun.
I know, I thought the same thing.
Yeah. As you mentioned, Sherry, Chloe Jackson was a children's book librarian in Chicago, and now she's relocated to the Redneck Riviera to work as a waitress. I'm wondering, what do these two careers add to her character in terms of helping her become a better sleuth?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, I think librarians are very resourceful. my friends that I know that are librarians are so good at finding information out. And so I think that makes a really good sleuth. And as a waitress, you come in contact with lots of different kinds of people.
Sure.
You overhear things that you might not normally. And Chloe is very persistent about heading out and asking people blunt questions, whether she should or not.
That's good. Cool. My next question, always complicated, of course, is did any character surprise you or refuse to say or act as you'd planned?
Well, Seth Anderson from the Sarah books is the one that really surprised me the most. Like I said, Sarah went off, had this one night stand, and then he called her, and I didn't expect, this was supposed to be a nameless throwaway thing that happened, and he became this big part of all the Sarah books. And it just was so interesting to me because I didn't expect that and I didn't plan it. But I think it worked out well for the series. And so he's the one that has surprised me most in all the characters I've written.
Cool. And the last question is, what do you want readers to take away from your book? Books.
Gosh, that's such a great question. Well, I think most of all, I want them to escape for a little bit. Life is hard, and reading has always been my escape. And so I think that's what I really want to offer to my readers. Hopefully they'll be entertained. I like to write, so you're a little on the edge of your seat, but I like to throw some humor in. And I've been really pleased that people have told me they've laughed out loud reading From Beer to Eternity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so just a good escape for a few hours.
Cool.
Why I write, I think.
Yeah.
The perfect answer. I mean, that's what we
Yes,
all need right
exactly.
now, just to get away from the news and just to
Right.
enjoy something for a little while.
Right. I
Mhm.
agree.
Well, Sherry Harris, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yes,
I
thank
hope
you.
that everybody will rush out and get From Beer to Eternity if you haven't already. It's a great start to a series, and we're looking forward to seeing where Chloe and her gang go next.
Thank you so much. And you both know you had a bit of a role in the book. So Kristopher, by telling us that very funny story, and Dru Ann was there when he did, and he let me borrow it. And I don't think it's funny it's on the page as it is when you tell it, Chris, because it's so funny. So thank you both for reading my books and reviewing them and for having me today.
Thank you.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
We'll have you back anytime.
Yes, anytime.